our chairman. Our chairman is Dr. Joe Cherry Perez de Tangley. He was recognized by the U.S. Congress, the city of Los Angeles, and also in United Kingdom for his humanitarian work in 2018, and was one of the 10 outstanding entrepreneurs in the Philippines in 2009. He is an author, a change management practitioner, and a thought leader in the private and the public sector. Dr. Perez de Tangley taught at Syracuse University in New York, and he has his philosophy doctorate in social change, honoris causa, and candidacy in organization development. Today, he is the chairman of the Alliance of Asian American Voters. He also is the president of Filipino American Voice United and the Filipino Latino Asian Native American Movement for Empowerment. He is the Vice President for International Relations in Asia and the U.S. territory with the Federation of Philippine American Chambers of Commerce. Charter Director with LACAS, L-A-K-A-S, American Chamber in Los Angeles, California. And the Chairman Emeritus of the Way to Happiness Filipino Foundation, Co-Chairman Medical Portability Committee, U.S. Medicare BH, Social, Southern California. Cherry is founding president of Integrative Learning, IL International, the owner of Boracay Ocean View Penthouse Resort and Global EVP of Quantum Global Holding. He lived in the U.S. and also in Philippines. Please welcome Dr. Tangley.
Good afternoon. Mabuhay is how we say it in Filipino. First of all, I am humbled and very appreciative of this challenging position and role. And I believe today is definitely a historic day for Asian Americans in the United States. I think we here today, the person sitting in your chair is here not by coincidence. We have a specific role. I think of the founding fathers in 1776 of how they put together. I feel we are doing something similar. And this is what I want to talk about in terms of what is the challenge fronting us and what can we do moving forward. But first of all, let me share something about myself with some levity. I always say, I am a triple citizen. Huh? What's a triple citizen? You know what a triple citizen is? I'm a Filipino citizen. I'm a U.S. citizen of the last 40 years. What's a triple citizen? I'm a senior citizen. So, I think there is a calling for me why I am here. And I want to acknowledge Haven University, Dr. Tony Wynn, and our distinguished members of the Asian American community today. So what I have to say for us this morning is that what is the definition of an alliance? Because we are an alliance, right? And so I looked it up. I was researching last night. An alliance is a group of people working together towards a common goal, right? And what is that common goal?
So we cooperate for specific purposes, merging our efforts and interests, whether as persons, families, states, or organizations. This is an alliance. All right? I love it. So here in the alliance, we distinguish the diversity of our individuals and organizations, but what is the uniting factor? We are looking at common ground, okay? As we distinguish and appreciate the differences that we all bring. Now, what is Asian? I was looking that up, Asian. So, Asian is like, in many ways, 1/3 to 1/2 of the global population. But how many are we in the United States of America? The estimate is that we are approximately 20 differences of survey around 23 million. What does that mean? We are 7%
of the 333 million population of the United States. The US is the third biggest population in the world, right? And we are 7% of that. So we have a tall order as the Alliance for Asian Americans.
Now, what is it that makes us American, I believe? What is our grounding common ground, given our differences? Well, we live in this country geographically, that's one. We could be residents, we could be citizens. But those are pieces of paper. I think the key that makes us American is that we have a commonality of values. What are those? I believe it's in the Founding Fathers' 1776 Constitution and our Bill of Rights. This is what makes us American. It's not the color of our skin or background ethnicity. It is the Founding Fathers' beliefs and value system. That I believe is what makes us American. And voters, here's the thing. If we're 77% of the US population, how many of us are registered to vote? So I looked it up. And so we have a tall order. If, given that we have 535 members of the US Congress, both Senate and the lower house, 435 in the lower house, plus 7 for the territories, that's 442, plus 100 senators. If we are 7% of the population, what is the challenge? We should have, how many representatives do you think as a minimum? 7% is we should have 38 representatives in the United States Congress and 7 in the US Senate. How many do we have today? Less than half of that. So we have a good challenge here for us to be heard, for us to be seen, and to have a voice in the United States, not only politically, but of course economically, socially, culturally. We have so much to contribute to our beloved country. So today, we start and open the National Alliance. What I would like to see is that we should at least have a chapter in every state and 2 chapters in California, I would say. One in northern and one in southern. This is a minimum. that I would like to put forth for us. So we need 50 more chapters we now have here in Southern California. Now, should we just not be present in the states? I believe we should also be present in the major cities of the country. So what are the major cities? There are 333 cities in the United States which has a population of 100,000 or more. 333. I believe we should have a chapter in each of those 333 cities. Would you agree? Yeah? How many counties are there, including Washington, D.C.? There's 3,145 counties. Wow. Should we have a chapter in each county? I believe so. If we are truly to be heard and make an impact in our country. And then, in California, let's focus on California alone. How many school districts are there in the state of California? There are 1,000 school districts. Should we have representation in those school districts for our voices to be heard and influence the curriculum of our children's education? I believe so. 1,000 school districts in California alone. So this is the challenge ahead of us, and I believe we are ready for this. And the thought that I want to say for us is, what do we do after today's historic founding and organization of the AAAV? I call it AAAV. Right? I think in terms of acronyms, because I've been a consultant for many years and an educator, and I've traveled all around the world giving lectures and seminars. I like acronyms. So the acronym I want to give you today are two acronyms. I think the marching orders of how will we do this, how will we live up to our challenge, is that we have to be I am. That's an acronym. First is I. We need to inspire and educate the 23 million Asian Americans. Right? Inspire them of who they are, who we are as Asians in terms of the legacy, identity, language, and culture that we bring into this country, and not become invisible in the United States. Because sometimes, and I can speak as a Filipino, we become invisible. Why is that? I think we need to be proud of our heritage and contribution to this country. Filipinos have been here 400 years before the Puritans arrived. They say Filipinos discovered California in Morro Bay. That's another story. But I believe all of us here have our own distinct contribution to this country. And so part of this is to inspire our young people of their identity and contribution, and to stand tall as Asian Americans, as Korean Americans, as Chinese Americans, as Filipino Americans. Right? So the acronym is IM. First is inspire and educate. So we need to research. I research on the Filipino contribution in this country. We've been here for more than 400 years. Really? I didn't know that until I researched on it. I think the Alliance should have an education and research committee, I personally believe, for each of our ethnic groups. So what's the second letter? A in IM. Is as we inspire and educate, I believe we should activate in chapters. Given the thousands of chapters, seems like a tall order, right? Well, it begins with the first step. As we inspire and educate, just 1,000 schools here in California, school districts, let us activate, meaning organize chapters all over.
And of course, at the same time, strengthen our groups of Koreans, of Chinese, South Asians, Filipinos. Let's strengthen those groups. And what's the M in IM?
IM, first inspire, second is activate. M is mobilize. What will the chapters do? We have to mobilize them in programs and actions that we can guide them through the AAAV. Let's give them. What are the programs? Represent yourselves in the school districts. Have, develop our leaders to then run for positions in the counties, districts, cities, and states, as well as federal positions. We should have that. So that's the IM. Inspire, activate, and mobilize. And people say, Jerry, how do we do this?
So I have a third acronym.
We do this through
three
three
M's.
M's.
What's the three M's? I have advised some congressional candidates in the past.
They always say, Jerry, I don't have enough money. How can I win the election? No money. I said, reverse it. Money comes. How? The first M is, what is our message? So again, inspiring message. It starts with a message. What is our inspiring message to the American people of the United States, the 333 million people? That we have a voice as Asian Americans. That is our message, our branding. And they say, wow. So that's the first M. An inspiring message, not only Asians, but for the whole country. Yes? Now when you have a message, will that create the result? No. You need the second M, machinery, a structure, organization, chapters, with people who are aligned in the common ground of our values. And then, when you have the first M of message and machinery, then the third M, money, comes in. It flows in. Not the other way around. Let's not focus, we don't have enough funds, We need to have funds, definitely, and I think that is the challenge of the starting AAV. Yeah, we need to have funds, for sure. But the first thing is message, machinery, then the money comes in between us. So with that thought, I would like to say thank you for this opportunity, and we will have a great afternoon, get to know each other personally, of the greatness and heroism of each one, and the legacy that we bring from our home countries into our beloved United States of America. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Jerry, the takeaway. Before we have a culture, we should interview our guests. But I want an opening speech and welcome speech. Before I introduce all of you to the conference, I would like to introduce you Dr. Kang Wong Lee, the Chancellor of Harvard University. Please welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests, good afternoon. I am truly honored before you today on behalf of Haven University to extend a welcome and a heartfelt welcome to the distinguished members of the Alliance of Asian American Voters. Just like Dr. Jerry, I introduced myself. I came here in the United States at the age of 30 in 1986. Then you can figure out how old I am. So since then, I I just try to make a living and just try to survive without a couple of $100. So to become a certified public accountant and pass the exam and run accounting firm in Los Angeles for less than 30 years. Still, I have my own accounting firm in Los Angeles. Then by God's calling, so as an elder of a big church, so I was called by Holy Spirit that to be involved in Haven University. So I've been serving as a chancellor for less than 6 years. It was challenging, but it's worthwhile to do that. Because it's mission and commitment. So just like Jerry, so in Korean, welcome is 안녕하세요, 안녕하십니까. That's in Korean. So our gathering today is testament to the principles that underpin our society. Diversity, inclusion, and the pursuit of a more equitable and just future for all. The Alliance of Asian American Voters embodies these values by advocating for the rights and the representation of Asian Americans. And we at Haven University are proud to support this effort. Haven University as an institution committed to education. We began under the name of California Graduate School of Theology in 1969. It's about 55 years ago, by Baptist pastor William Stewart Dr. McBurney. We have more than 6,000 masters and doctors alumni. Among them are Reverend James Kennedy, founder of King's College, Reverend Jack Hayford, founder of Liberty University, Dr. Jerry Flower, and the Hawaiian University Chancellor, Dr. Walk Warren, and so forth. Currently, we have many Asian Americans, many Asian students from Korea, Vietnam, Japan, Thailand, and Laos. We are located in the heart of the Asian community in Orange County, in the Garden Road, and we are ready to embrace all Asian American students. We are accredited by Transnational Association of Christian Colleges and Schools, TRACS, recognized by the United States Department of Education. As we navigate the ever-changing landscape of our nation, it becomes increasingly crucial to ensure that every voice is heard and every perspective is valued. The Asian American community has contributed immeasurably to the tapestry of American society. Enriching our nation with its unique culture, traditions, and talents. I encourage each of you to take full advantage of the resources and the opportunities that today's gathering provides. Thank you once again for gracing us with your presence today. I look forward to witnessing the fruitful discussions and the collaborations that will emerge from this gathering. May our shared commitment to democracy and justice guide us in all our endeavors. May God bless you and thank you, and that good to see you here. Thank you. Let me introduce our, it's not in the program, but let me introduce our president of Haven University, Dr. Joshua Smith. He is an Afro-American and a very prominent leader in African American society. Let me introduce Dr. Smith.
I'd like to say good afternoon to each and every one of you, you know? It's always good to see smiling faces. realize that we're a nation of immigrants. I say it again, we're a nation of immigrants. My father was from Trinidad, West Indies. He came here as a teacher, decided to go to medical school, and ended up a surgeon. And so he raised me with the attitude of opportunity starts with what you decide to do. And putting effort behind it. I love what you said, Dr. Gary. Your message was tremendously appropriate for why we are all here. And recognizing the lives of Asian American voters, I'd like to see someday, I don't want to have to do a lot of talking. Wherever you have a chapter, we have a teaching side. How about that for a partnership in the realization of what we do? Yeah. We are, right now, existing, have a teaching site in Thailand, and we have just opened up a teaching site in Las Vegas. We have teaching sites in LA, and we have the major site here, right here in Garden Grove, California. So
I don't want to really, talk too much, because then I'll put you to sleep, and it's afternoon, it's too soon for that. But I do want to encourage you that I really was encouraged by what you had to say. See, we learn from each other. I believe, and I learned this as an educator, repetition, association, and assimilation. The whole key to really growing in education is association. Being involved with people, being connected, knowing people personally, intimately, genuinely. That's been the relationship I've had with Dr. Kenwan Lee. It's been just, that has put me in the position that I am in today. I love activating, motivating. I'm going to keep that in mind. But it's inspired by education. That's the foundation. You hear me? We all are here because of that. I don't care what you want to say. We would not be here without a teacher. Some form of teacher, starting usually at home, hopefully at home. So with all that to be said, I got the message. All right? And in that message, there's some mechanics in the realization of machinery getting ready to happen up in here with all of us working together in a realization of being productive. And I've always believed the same thing, that if you are really making a difference, you don't have to worry about money. Money will come to you. You've heard that before, doctor. Dr. Tanya, please stand as well. Hallelujah. And foremost, I couldn't be here without someone being in my life. My wife, Dr. Sherilyn Smith. Please stand, honey. Don't just do that. Hallelujah. And I do believe in praising God. So with all that being said, we welcome you once again. We just simply want to embrace you as an educational community and as a community at large. Let's give God all the praise, honor, and glory for all that he is doing with us.
Thank you. On behalf of the Alliance of Asian American Voters, we would like to welcome all of you here today, and we would like to have a chance to introduce all guests come with us at this moment. At first, we see here with us the Mayor of City of Westminster, Mr. Mayor Charlie Chi Nguyen. Next to him is Attorney Lân Nguyen, or we call Nguyen Quất Lân. He is Director of Garden Grove Unified School District, also the candidate of Garden Grove Mayor. We please welcome Attorney Lân Nguyen. And in order, we also introduce Mrs. Tanya McDonald. Tanya McDonald is Dr. Tanya McDonald from Haven University. Is a Dean of Haven University. We please welcome. And we also have Evangelist Glenn Smith. Do I pronounce right? From Words of God University. And also we do have Bishop Dr. Joshua Smith from Haven University. We would like to introduce you Professor Sophia Chang from Korean American Federation. Please welcome. And we do have Mr. Calvin Carr from South Asian Community. And we would like you to welcome Mrs. Sue Jasmine Faso. Professor, is you? I'm sorry for mispronouncing because I write it. And we do have the present of Mrs. Misa. And the end of the first row is Attorney Kang Duc Vu. Is our leader of the Alliance of Vietnamese People from Ottawa, Canada. And at this moment, we do have Professor Yuan Dai Hai is a candidate for the public figure in our community. And we also have Mrs. Trần Ngọc Thảo. Please welcome. We also have Dr. Joseph Dovin is Governor City Councilman. And we also have Mr. Tony Nguyen, Mr. Nguyen Hữu Trân is the founder, chair of the Alliance of Vietnamese People. Please welcome Mr. Tony Nguyen. And we do see Pastor Hong Sinh Nguyen from Tennessee. We would like to introduce you, Pastor Evangelical Pastor Hong Sinh Nguyen. Please welcome. And also we have all the members of the Alliance of Vietnamese People join with us today in the second and the third row and the fourth row of audience. Of course, we have a list and I will read later. For the next meeting, we would like to introduce you and please welcome Attorney Lon Nguyen.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Lan Nguyen. I'm an attorney. I'm also a trustee of the Gandro University District for over 21 years now. And for over 30 years, I have been an advocate, the lawyer for the Vietnamese refugees, immigrants, and I work on all kinds of things advocating for my community in the areas of refugees' rights, immigration rights, political empowerment, and also educational achievement. And these endeavors are interwoven in all Asian community of our Asian American community in Southern California. And we look around, we see many representatives from many Asian communities here. And community appear to be looking from the outside. They appear to be successful. But if you look deeper inside, this community is often overlooked. It's often ignored. Why? You may ask yourself, they look doing well. They're successful. They achieve in all areas in society. But because it's exactly that they need overlooked. Because the mainstream community say they're doing well, they're doing good, just leave them alone. And they've been ignored because for the same reason. People think they're doing well, they're doing good, they don't need any help. So we don't need to do help. That is furthest. It's nothing furthest for the true reality of our community here. The impression in general come from this community The reality is that each of our community is very unique in its own right. Each of our Asian community has different interests, different needs. So one has to understand, looking from the inside, from the outside, so that we can have a more realistic view of what they need, what they can do. Therefore, the success in some community do not overshadow the struggling in the same community or in other communities. We have to be realistic of that. Therefore, the work of the Alliance of the Vietnamese American Voters is very important, very essential in bringing together different voices for the common purpose, for the common need of our community. It's always important that we stand together to work together for the unified voice so that we can advocate for our common interests, even though each of us, each of our community is different, is unique in its own right. But still, we still have to work together. Our struggle will continue. We will succeed only if we work together. And therefore, thank you very much for Dr. Tony Nguyen and for all our leaders, the university leader here, for our community here, especially the chairman of the Alliance for the Vietnamese American Voter. I appreciate your vision in looking forward to allow us to work together so that we can all advocate for our common interests. But therefore, I'm very happy to continue to work with you, to be a part of this alliance, and look forward to working with Alliance of the Vietnamese, the Asian American Voter. For that, I wish the conference today of success, and I'm very proud to be a part of this event today. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Attorney Lan Nguyen. As a member of the Alliance of Asian American Voter, we would like to introduce Professor Sophia Chang. Sophia Chang is 15. She came to the United States when she was 15 years old. And from there to here is a long time she was a U.S. citizen. That's why you see how dedicated she contributes, she loved this country. She had over 30 years to do her interior architecture and professional for 13 years. She also a businesswoman to handle her credit card merchant service. She is a CEO for the company, and she is very active. We would say very active businessman, very active, a volunteer for the community. We would like to introduce Sophia Chang. Please welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for inviting me here. I came to the United States when I was 15 years old, and I went to high school, middle school, and college, and graduate school over here. So I've been teaching in college for 13 years for interior architecture and working for a big architecture firm for like 10, 15 years. And then I still practice a little bit, but I am more focused on my own business, doing credit card merchant services. And I've been doing that for 13 years, and I'm a very active realtor in Koreatown. And the reason I'm here, and thank you so much for inviting me, Dr. Tony. I'm a business partner with Dr. Tony for future energy business. We'll be starting EV charging station and electric bus. And so, as you know, the United States and all of the world is everybody is changing to EV charge, EV electric cars, right? So we'll be starting a business together. And I wanted to tell you about how important the community is. And since, even though I came to the United States when I was a little, I am a little younger than now. But I always loved Korea and I love the United States, and I really appreciate all the opportunities that the United States give it to me. So I really love Korea and United States. So whenever I need, and they need me, and whenever they want me, and I'm willing to be there and help them. And I'm not a voter, honestly. Last time I voted is when I was a junior year in high school. Since I came to United States when I was 15, I was a little bit behind with the English. So I went down one grade down. So when I was a junior in high school, I was old enough to vote. So there was a Clinton year, so I voted for him so I can skip the class, right? so I voted last time. And then I never voted because I didn't want to get bothered for jury duties. You know, I heard if we vote, we have to attend a lot of jury duties. So I skipped that. But last time I voted for 4 years. I know when Trump was candidate for the presidency. So I came all the way from Las Vegas, drove 5 hours to vote for the Trump, but I don't know, he lost, but anyway, so I'm very involved with the Korean town. 4 years ago, our community, you know how big our Korean community is in Korean town, in LA, and we gotta notice from city that Bangladeshians was taking over our Korean community. So that time, I was very busy working as a realtor, running my own business, but I had to help them. So I quit everything for 3 months. At night, from the morning to night, I was volunteering, voting, going to big churches every Sunday. And then, so every for 3 months, I volunteered. And I collected personally about 78,000 votes. And we won the case by like 97%. So I was very proud, and I got elected as a #1 volunteer award from Korean community. So I know how important the vote is, because without vote, there is no voice, right? So how people gonna know our opinion if we don't vote, right? So we have to vote, and that's why I'm here to help especially for Asian community. You know, I love Asians, and even a lot of kids, they come to the United States. I invited my son here so he can listen to my speeches. So I wanted him to, but he disappeared on me. But I wanted him to listen. Even they born in the United States, they need to realize their own country, right? A lot of little kids, they forget. They think they're American. I mean, they're American, but they need to not forget that they're behind their own country, right? So that's why I want to help, because I'm like a second generation, like one and a half generation for United States. So I want to help for United States and Korea. So that's why I'm here. Thank you so much for inviting. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sophia Chang. We would like to clarify our the Alliance of Asian American Voters is non-partisan organization. I'm very thank you, Mr. Chang, speak by her heart. We guarantee with everybody here have a different view, different purpose, different candidate. That's why this organization is a non-partisan. We organize to bring the voting culture to our Asian American community. Before to go to the next one, we would like to read a mission statement from our Asian American voter. The Alliance of Asian American Voters. We, as the founding member of the Alliance of Asian American Voters, agree and understand our duty to do as follows. Number one, establish and develop a voting culture among all Asian American voters, both old and new. Work to build our Asian American community political voice of varying issues to be heard by politicians and elected officers. Number two, gather and unify all Asian American residents and voters for the good cause of protecting their rights, strengthening their public electoral power. Number three, advocate in the U.S. Congress and the U.S. Department of State on foreign policy that relates to diplomatic and security issues of Asian nations to protect human rights and democratic development in the Asian countries which directly relate to our Asian American communities. Number 4, advocate in the U.S. Congress and the U.S. State Department to develop bilateral and multilateral economic policies for the interests of Asian American communities. Number 5, the Alliance of Asian American Voters is an international organization for diplomatic relations to promote and develop democracy and campaign for free and fair election in Asia. Number 6, advocate educational policies at the federal and the state levels that encourage the value of Asian cultures, humanities, and society of Asian American communities. And last but not least, advance the healthcare and medical policy for Asian American communities, especially promoting the affordable public health policy for Asian students who are studying and doing research in the United States. This is our statement mission, our mission statement. And the next speech, we would like to introduce you one of our founding member from South Asian community. We would like to introduce you, Mr. Kevin Carr, and his delegate. Mr. Kevin Carr is an engineer by profession, and he is herein the following company as its founder. Number 1, Federation of Indo-Americans Association of Southern California. 2, he is the chairman of U.S. Asia Business Forum. 3, he is the chairman and president of U.S. Global Business Forum. Number 4, he also organized U.S. Latin Business Forum. 5, U.S. Africa Business Forum. He also CEO of this forum. 6, he is the chairman of FORSAC, the initial for South Asia country communities. Number 7, he also runs U.S. Global Development and Investment Incorporation. Number 8, he also the ex-chairman of LA County Sheriff India American Advisory Council. Please welcome Mr. Kevin Cole.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. When you have a Bollywood singer, you have 10,000 people come. Right, Shikhar? Right? I called 20 of my friends, best friends. They said they'll be here at 1 o'clock. I have 2. One is my wife and one is our partner, Shagun, there. So we're just 3 of us. Tony, before 4 o'clock, they'll be here. Others will be here. But this is the state of affairs of our community, of all communities for that matter. It's not about Indo-American community or something. Everybody wants fun. But they don't understand that what does it take to be present in the American society. We just had a girl killed. None of the Asian community must be aware of this news. She died in the month of January this year. Very important, Tony, understand. She was a student and she died. A cop hit her driving at 70 miles an hour. and she passed away. 6 months later, nobody talked about it, and this is happening right here in the United States. To my surprise, when somebody dies, obviously there's a coroner involved, there's a hospital involved, that everything is involved in the process, whether it's in India, whether you call it a banana country or a developing nation. Somebody dies on the street, you got to take, everybody gets involved in the system. 6 months later, can you guys believe it? Last month? No, sorry, September month. This month, somebody within the department had the good sense. I don't know if she's brown, black, white, which color, who disclosed it. It got leaked out in the media. The body cam. The white cop, who happens to be vice president of the Police Association of Seattle, talks to the president that the girl has died, hit by this car, and she is of no significance to the American society, and her value is only $11,000. How many of you in this room know about this incident that happened just 9 months ago, and it came in the media after 9 months? Raise your hands, please. I just really want to know who in this whole audience knows about this incident about a 23-year-old student of Indo-American origin. And if my question is, if that good Samaritan lady, or I don't know, it's a gentleman or a gentle lady, would not have disclosed this incident, what would have happened? Can you guys imagine? I mean, you rightly said, sir, we are the Asian community is #1 in the United States per capita income, but we have no voice. We really don't have no voice. I'll tell you my own story, and this is important for your Haven University also, because we need to give back something to you also from our alliance. Otherwise, you would not be hosting us here today, right? Dr. Lee. I graduated electrical engineering from a college in India, which is like, one of the top 5s. And I was lucky to drive an aircraft carrier. India was the only country at that time to have an aircraft carrier. In Asia, actually. So that was my first job, by the way. So luckily my contract was for 7 years in the Indian Navy. So I finished that by 26, by 27, 28, I was done with that. And then I went to build a port next to where in Mumbai, there's a port being built at that time. That was an ADB contract. ADB stands for Asian Development Bank. One of the foremost contracts at that time, talking about 87, 88. So the whole electrical system, 220 kV by 33 kV and all that was under my supervision happened. We had international consortium. That's how Hyundai came to India. That was the first contract of Hyundai. So that was 87, yeah. Then I see an ad, and this is what I'm trying to come to you. I see an ad, and I'm this part of Mumbai, and the ocean is, you guys have seen the Taj Hotel, where the 26/11 had happened by the terrorist attack in Mumbai. So that was a hotel. So there was an ad which came out, a walk-in interview at the Taj, and offering MBAs, I don't know, your college offers MBA or not. So I went there, sat with like this, you would be in Mumbai soon too. So he said, with your qualification, I can offer you MBA from the United States in 1 year. I said, good. My son was just born there in Mumbai, so. And India was just coming out of the liberalization. We're talking 1991, when the Cold War ended. There was India was in a bad shape. Foreign policy was more Russia-oriented. Then the liberalization happened. So 91, 92, I'm talking about. Foreign reserves in India was very low, less than 100 billion. So that's where this finance minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, came in and he changed the policies of the country and all that. But I took a flight at the same time to South Dakota without knowing anything about South Dakota, how cold it can be. So within 15 days, I left my nation with a very responsible position, and everybody told me, why are you leaving? You're going to be the chairman of this board. And I said, no. There's one nation in the planet Earth which is the best since childhood I knew of. It was America. Never been to Canada, never thought about going to Canada, but this was the love of my life, you know. I call myself a born American. But why I'm telling you this is Haven Universities needs to reach out to South Asia where you will get the maximum number of participants, because 80% of Indians population, which is 1.6 billion people, love America. This was Reader's Digest analysis. 1.6 billion, 80% of the people. So in that article they said if 80% of India comes to America, can America accommodate it? Yes, it can. So that's how Indo-Americans believe, and universities like yours. And I quit South Dakota within 3 months. I didn't know it was so bad. I moved to LA. And ever since I've been in LA. Now let's come to what Jerry was talking. Dr. Jerry was talking, Sir was talking, everybody inputs were great. So I'll tell you my journey and then what all things happened in the last 32 years. So I was from Kashmir. Kashmir, the most distant place on the planet Earth, everybody knows that, right? President Obama said that one day and it became very famous, Kashmir. So I'm a Hindu from Kashmir, migrated to the United States, retired lieutenant, senior lieutenant of the Indian Navy. So I get picked up by the community because 91 there was total disturbance in Kashmir. My community was, mass exodus had happened. The Muslims, Benazir Bhutto, Pakistan, all that. She died, and they say when you live by a bullet, you die with a bullet, right? That's what exactly happened to Benazir Bhutto. So the whole community of mine was, exodus happened. So they wanted a spokesperson in the United States, my community. So I said, okay, I don't mind volunteering for the job. So by default, as a naval officer, I didn't know anything about politics. I get into politics. So my journey of 32 years is all about politics, mobilizing my community. So 92, whether you guys believe it or not, I don't know how many of you have been to Artesia. Artesia is like Little India. The hub of the Indian community is Artesia, yes. So we are trying to do the Independence Day Carnival. 15th of August is the Independence Day of India. Maybe. Can I get a glass of water if you don't mind, please? So 15th of August, 92. Okay. 15th of August, 1992, there used to be one Caucasian council member there called Mr. Bob Jemison. So we would have to request him, can you come and be the chief guest of our Independence Day? So that was the state of affairs of our Indo-American community, where President Biden also called our community a 7-Eleven community. You guys must have heard this, So that was the perception of the Indo-American community in 1992. Then came the dot-com era. We were 30,000 doctors till 1992, but they could not create an impact to our community in the national politics or anything. Then came the dot-com era. Everybody knows about the dot-com era, what happened. So we earned respect from there, yes, because the hedge fund guys or the investors would not invest money in a company unless an Indo-American is there in the board. So you guys know about that story. That is where the respect started. Then the Latin community had their own problems with Pete Wilson. Thanks to Pete Wilson, what Proposition 187 he started, 97, 98. that messed up and united the whole Latin community. You need a spark to unite, and that was the spark that united. Thanks to Pete Wilson. I met him a couple of weeks ago. He's still alive. I didn't know that. So, 97 started mobilization of the Latin American community. Now came the Indo-American community, where we would get involved in all the elections that would happen, Mayor of LA, Governor of California, and the President of the United States. From Gray Davis onwards, we were involved. Before that, Bill Clinton also, yes. But I got a shocker and an understanding of the whole dynamics of American politics, because it was like a self-study for us. Like Dr. Jerry rightly said, his community has come 400 years ago. Our community, Indo-American community, has come to the United States 100 plus 30, 40 years ago. There were 80,000 soldiers who died in World War II and World War I, or maybe more, I don't know the numbers. But we came to this country late 1800s, our community. So coming back to up to 2000, when the mayor election, Jim Hahn won the election, and Jim Hahn promised us as the mayor of LA, I will be the mayor, I will give you a seat on the table. So we didn't support Viracocha, we supported Jim Hahn. And then Jim Hahn gave 3 deputy mayor positions. And Tony, this is very important for you to understand, because we are calling us an Asian alliance. So we got to understand the geopolitics, because it's going to come up in a board also. So when Jim Hahn became the mayor, he said, the Chinese came front. He said, we came to this country before the Indo-Americans. The Koreans came front, we are Asian. We didn't get nothing. South Asian American community got 0. Then I realized the geopolitics to exist in the United States will be uniting South Asia. And it was easy for me to unite South Asian countries, because I grew up in Calcutta, the city of joy, you guys know about. Tony, you give me 10 minutes to speak. Are you guys enjoying it, or should I cut it short? Okay. So, how I became a South Asian leader, because I was born in Calcutta. I'm from Kashmir, which is north. So Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, all these countries, Sri Lanka, and I studied in the south. So I knew a little bit south, east, west, north, south. That's how I had acceptance from all the way from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, all these countries, 10 countries. So, and the Muslim community, which is the largest Muslim community, is in South Asia, by the way. Indonesia is number 1, number 2 is India. Number 3 is Pakistan, then is Bangladesh. So we lived with all these different religions and all that, because multi-ethnic nation, 2 billion population, 1/4 of the planet Earth. And Dr. Jerry, when you mentioned that we are half the world's population, we also have to add the economic wealth of these Asian community at large. Till 2008, before the debacle, financial debacle that happened, we were 17% of the global GDP. But now we are going to 60% of the global GDP. That's where Asia is going to. So what happened was, in 2001, after 9/11 happened and all, so we united the whole South Asian American community and became one voice. We reached a point where President Biden also accepts the South Asian American community is the swing vote community in the United States today in every election. And the last election that had happened was between Rick Caruso and Karen Bass. And I told Rick Caruso, he was my friend for many, many years, I told him, if you don't come to my community in Atisha, it'll be hard for you to win. And Karen Bass accepted 2 weeks before the election, and we were so proud to support her. and she was really good, and she won the election. So that is what it is. But now being Asian Alliance, which Tony started, Tony, I admire him a lot for the last 20 years. Tony, there are two things I would suggest as a founding person, and my team is here also. First, culturally, we got to find a way to get 48 countries together. And how that will happen, and one time CNN had asked me a question when I was getting Imran Khan in the same platform with Prime Minister Modi, both accepting an award in the same platform. They asked me a question. The answer to that question, what I gave, was I said, the Chinese and the Japanese hate each other overseas, but here in the United States, they call themselves Pacific Islanders. Similarly, India-Pakistan problems is not the issue. Issue is, in America, how you look, what you eat unites people. And that is the exact model we have to create for the 48 nations of this thing. Culturally, we got to get them together. So what I would suggest, just brainstorming, what will attract masses. September 29th is the founding day for this platform. A year from now, we should do a carnival as Independence Day of Asian American communities, where all the 48 countries' participation is there, whether you do it in Cerritos Park or you do it somewhere common, where we can get the masses, and we have 48 countries, cultural events happen. That is how you unite the 23 million population. And then we talk about Asian Alliance, because it's not only an Asian Alliance for political, it can be an Asian Alliance for a lot of other stuff like the Latin community is. For businesses, for doing business with Asia, doing business here, all those things can be, but culturally we got to get them all united. Now, two important figures in my community who represent almost 1 million people, I would like them to come forward and speak on their minds. One is Sneha Lata Misra, who also happens to be my wife. She's also an electrical engineer from the United States. And she is the perfect lady to be a FOSAC chairwoman, because in her first marriage, she had married a Pakistani doctor. So she has 3 boys from her marriage who are half Indian and half Pakistani. So when we got married, I said, you're the perfect lady to be the leader of the South Asian American community, because there's a lot of division because of other stuff. You all know about it. So please welcome Sneha Lata Misra. Come forward, baby. And
thank you, Kevin. Thank you, and thank you for having us. We are honored, and I will not take too much time because he did the work for us. Yes, we will. We are here to support, and any way we can be helpful, we are. And last thing, Tony, Tony is a wonderful, wonderful soul and a man that I met, full of intellect, and the things he has discovered and the things he has put together. I salute you, and I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
And the next lady to be introduced in our community is Mrs. Shagun Gupta, who represents as the president of the Global Beauty Pageant, the only one in the United States, because Donald Trump sold his Miss Universe to a London company. Miss World is owned by a London company. Only Miss Global Beauty Pageant, she is the owner with my wife. So please welcome Shagun Gupta.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for the introduction. Thanks for having me. I will make it really, really quick. Kevin and I and Sneha, we've partnered to do a global beauty pageants, which is going to be an international thing. We are going to be integrating different cultures through this pageant. We're going to be bringing the women forward. We do have a women empowerment agenda. We're going to be promoting the cultures of the local countries we go to. So Global Beauty Pageant is one of the mediums through which we can promote not just our culture, different cultures. We can promote women, we can promote their participation, we can bring people together. So that is what we have in mind through the US GBP, US Global Beauty Pageant. And I hope to have contributions from all of you in this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Shagun. Thank you, Sneh. Thank you, Dr. Tony. Thank you, Van, everybody, and everybody here. Thanks.
Thank you. We, on behalf of the organization committee, we would like to welcome Chairman Richard Chung. Just come lately. We have Mr. Chung here, and Mrs. Sophia Chang already say something, but later we would like to ask you to the podium after. And we also introduce Mr. Greg McTee. Please welcome Mr. Greg McTee from Board of Advisory previously. And also we have Mr. Nugent Nguyen, one of our members from committee, organized committee. We please welcome Mr. Nugent Nguyen. And we would like to ask Mr. Nguyen introduce the next speech for the agenda for today.
All right, thank you, Mr. Van, and thank you, Kevin. A long relationship. When Kevin said, "No, jump with me," I jump. And when he say, "Come on, stay low," I stay low with him. So he's smart man. Thank you, Kevin. I would like to thank you, Dr. Jerry, on inviting another guest here for today, and especially all the administration from Heaven University. Without you, AAAV does not have this event. All right, so the next speaker, let's make the story short. The next speaker, I would like to have the honor to invite Honorable Mayor of the City of Westminster, Mr. Charlie Nguyen. Please give him a welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Well, I would like to start out with by saying, giving you a good news. I don't have a prepared speech, so it won't take long in my speech. This is my 4th event of the day. I still have another 3 to go, so you can see that it's a busy day for me. But I would like to say that it's an honor for me to be here today, to be invited to the event. And I know that many of you, the same thing. It's just a busy day, but you are here just because of the conference, and it's my privilege to be here with you too. Even though that I didn't prepare for the speech, but it's very clearly to me that on your hands and mine, that we have a package here. Tell us the meaning of why we are here today. And what is it? It's a conference. It's a conference to unity and strengthen of Asian American voters. That's very clear to us. And at the same time, the topic is unify and strengthen our electoral power for the future. What else do we have to say? Not only that, you heard the joint statement or mission statement from the MC already. I don't have to talk about it. But looking at this, you can see that the next thing is building strong voices for Asian American voters. Again, building strong voices for Asian American voters. That's why we are here. And it is also included in the logo as liberty, democracy, prosperity for Vietnam. I wanted to thank the organization, the Alliance of Vietnamese Voters or People, for organizing this conference. And I hope that it will fall, and I hope that we all join in and make it happen. So again, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for inviting me. And let us unite it so that we can have our voices out for us voters. I was here, I was at the event at this for Alliance of the Vietnamese People some time before, and I presented the plaque of appreciation to the organization. But today, it's my honor to present the founder of the Alliance of Vietnamese People, Mr. Tony Nguyen, with Westminster City Pins of Honor. So I would like to invite Mr. Tony Nguyen, the founder of Alliance of Vietnamese People, to come here. So thank you very much. This is a symbol of appreciation and thank you for all the work that he did. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to be honored, and I have to return my honor political party. Yesterday we have the anniversary, our national party. We pray for our earth general and former president who died in Vietnam. And also today, we have the conference for AAV. I would like to invite ladies and gentlemen to attend the event tomorrow in Westminster in Ramada Plaza. We will introduction with ladies and gentlemen with our Vietnamese community. This is the National Party, Vietnam National Party. I'm a founder and also I'm the chairman of the board. I would like to give to my mayor in the city of Westminster. This is the National Vietnam National Party logo. Not a party member. We vote for him forever. What he contribution a lot for our people. Also, he find the confidence as a member of the delegate. And also, I would like to request the ladies and gentlemen with the Asian Alliance vote for my new mayor and Attorney Len. He's the best certified mayor in the city where I got enrolled. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie, Mayor Charlie Nguyen. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to introduce you the force, the backbone of all men working today. We would like to introduce you the leader, the General Secretary of the Alliance of Vietnamese People. We have our speed. He came from Canada. He's a lawyer from Ottawa, Canada. Please welcome Attorney Can Đức Vu.
So, good afternoon. We have today many distinguished guests, and especially I noted there's a lot of very, very exceptional speakers. The organizer asking me to prepare a speech for maybe 10 minutes, and I did it. But I think it's most of the thing I want to tell you today is in the document we have here. So I would like to ask you after this event, this conference, You just read some document about the lives of Vietnamese people to get to know us. And we have an office right away in this prestigious university. And just upstairs, we have an official office, and our member, our staff will very gladly to answer any question you might have. And the reason I'm here today is just to tell you we need your support. And of course, we support the Alliance of Asian Voters in Southern America. And I'm very happy when I met Dr. Jerry here, and he want also to create many chapters around in the U.S. and even in Canada. He has some connection in Toronto. Actually, Toronto is part of the province of Ontario, and I'm living in Ottawa, so the capital of Canada and part of the Ontario province. So we would like to work together with you in the future to get the voice of Asian community, not only in the U.S. but in Canada, one voice, and we have to contribute to the development of the country. And thank you very much for your kind suggestion. So I will try to go back to my my speech. I just want to tell you that I'm very honored, honestly, very honored to be here. I met some of you last February when I came to the city of Westminster, and I met a lot of distinguished people, and you always show your appreciation, your support for the cause of Vietnam, and we ask you to support for a free, democratic, and prosperous Vietnam within the international community that we know until today. So I would like to introduce myself just a little bit very quickly. My name is Khan. In Vietnamese, we call Vũ Đức Khanh. It's mean the last name first, and my first name is in the last place. And but in Canada, and when I was 16 years old, I came to Belgium as a refugee, a boat people. Most of you know about how the story of the boat people. I came to Belgium, I studied in French, and then after I moved to Canada, I worked both in English and French. I'm actually a lecturer, part-time law professor at the University of Ottawa. And I was elected just last year as a Secretary General of the Alliance of Vietnamese People. The Alliance of Vietnamese People is a grassroots movement of all Vietnamese around the world, and especially in the U.S. U.S. is the biggest Vietnamese community outside of Vietnam. We have roughly about 2.5 million of Vietnamese in the U.S. and in South, they locate mostly in San Jose, northern of California, and here in Little Saigon. Little Saigon is the capital of the Vietnamese refugee around the world. So the first thing I want to tell you, I love America. When I studied in Belgium, even in high school, I learned about de Tocqueville, who wrote Democracy in America. And then for over the last 40 years, I learned a lot about the political system in the U.S., and especially how the people in the U.S. Assert their right under the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution. And I just want to read a paragraph from 160 years ago of one of the most famous president of the United States, President Abraham Lincoln. on the afternoon of November 19, 1863, U.S. President Abraham Lincoln, in his Gettysburg Address, dedicating the Soldier National Cemetery, now known as Gettysburg National Cemetery, described the United States as a nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Very, very important. Most of us, and I heard other combined speaker today saying America is an immigrant country. So most of us come to the U.S. as an immigrant. And we build this country. And this country believes strongly in the value of liberty. We always welcome all people, black, Asian, or African, Asian, on all the country to come here, to build this country. And we are very proud. Even I'm not American, but I'm very proud about the American value. This country is conceived by liberty. And about 2.5 million of Vietnamese people that I just said a few minutes ago, they came to the United States for what? For liberty. They want to build their new life after the tragic event, the collapse of the South Republic of Vietnam on April 30th, 1975. We came here with nothing. Nothing. And now you can go to Little Saigon, city of Westminster. You can see the flourishing of that city. And a lot of Vietnamese have contributed to that. So the first thing I want to tell is just the United States is a country of freedom. The second point I want to tell is Abraham Lincoln said, the sacrifice of those who died at Gettysburg in defense of those principles, and then urged the nation ensure that these dead shall not have died in vain. That this nation under God shall have the new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. Oh my God. 160 years ago, we believe that after the very painful Civil War, Americans have tried to work together to rebuild this country. And Vietnam today, even 48 years later, the government of Vietnam didn't do anything to reconcile with its own people. I don't want to tell that the government of Vietnam is not a free country. I just ask you the question, is Vietnam is a free and democratic country? And if we look just only at the Article 4 of the Constitution of Vietnam, the most recently in 2013, the Constitution stipulates that the Communist Party of Vietnam is the leading power of the country and the society. The Communist Party of Vietnam cannot vet that. Of course, they contribute to the fight for independence of Vietnam, and we have to fight also during from 1954 to 1975, both sides from the north and the south. We both fight for our independence, and much more than that, in the south, we we fought also for the liberty, democracy, and the human rights. So I don't want to answer if Vietnam is free or not. But because of some communist, Vietnam communist leader, they said they are democratic country. They respect the right of the people. But in reality, we have to tell all the people that's not the case. So in the United States, I said it's a free country. It's a democratic country. And what we are trying to do today is just to assemble the people, to gather the people, to work and to build this country free, more freer and more democratic. Respect the aspiration of the people here. So, what we are asking about today, we are asking you to support the cause of the Vietnamese people. And as President Abraham Lincoln said, that all men are created equal in right, and just God gave us that right. So I think the Vietnamese people deserve to have that right, like many of you in the U.S. So on behalf of the Alliance of the Vietnamese People, I solemnly ask you to support our cause. And of course, the Vietnamese community here in Southern California, we will support the cause of the alliance of Asian voter in America. Because if we have you, you will have us back. That is win-win situation. So I believe strongly in your generous help to us. So as I said, I won't go to my speech for the cause. What limit the transformation of Vietnam into a democratic country? We know on the cause of that, and the Vietnamese, the Alliance of Vietnamese People also, we have a program how to promote that, and we want to talk with you in private or in public again in another all the time. And once again, let's work together. Let's march together toward the success of the alliance of the Asian border in Southern California. And we also praise God to help us to bring freedom, democracy, and prosperity to Vietnam. And this is not only that is the aspiration of the Vietnamese people, but also in the best interest of America and the world. So once again, thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to meet you again.
Thank you. Testing. Thank you, Mr. Vũ. Hope we all pray for the goal of our life for Vietnamese people. And I'm not trying to talk about history, but 3 quotations in America that I actually print out and stick onto my front door, inside my front door. Number 1 is President Abraham Lincoln say, "We all create equal." Number 2, President Kennedy. I don't know you remember what he said. Not to ask what the nation do for you, but ask what you do for the nation. And another one, Dr. Martin Luther King. He said, very simple, right? We have a dream. And it turned the world upside down just for three words. Dr. Martin Luther King. Yeah, it turned the whole thing upside down. So, to cut my lengthy talking, not have anything to do with AAC here, but I would like to have the honor of asking Dr. Jerry Tucker to come up here for the speech, please.
Come on. Thank you. Salamat po. Alright. In India, do we say namaskar? So, first of all, do you want to do a 5-second stretch? Stand up, get low-lying fruit before I start? Oh, we're okay. Good. Okay, the title of my speech today, of my talk, is Awakening and Activate the Giant. I was asked to speak to you specifically about the Filipino-American community in the United States, which is, one estimate, it's around 5 million people in the United States, and approximately, one survey says 2 million in the state of California. So, the numbers are there. And I want to start off by saying that the awakening is already here. As you're aware, the Asian vote in the country has, I believe, doubled. And it has been acknowledged that the Asian vote was the decisive vote for the presidential elections. So, we are being seen, and this is just the beginning, I truly believe, as we activate and awaken the giant that is in our communities. But I just want to say a short anecdote. When I first arrived here in this country in 1984, they say, "You're Filipino, right? But your name is Jorge Perez de Tagle. It's Spanish, right? But you don't look Spanish. You don't look European. You look Asian." So yes, that's true. Filipinos are the Asian Latinos. We are the Asian Hispanics, actually. And I'd like to say that as being part of the 7% of the U.S. population of 23.5 million, we are also part, we as Asians and Filipinos, are part of a bigger group. What is that? 1/3 of the U.S. population is called the brown vote. So there's, if you believe in the racial races of white, black, and what's the third race? It's brown. We, the brown population, is actually 30%. Okay? So what am I saying here? The U.S. registered voters in the U.S., 13.4 million are eligible, or 5.6%. However, in the U.S., Asians, 60% are registered and actually 42% voted. What is it in California? We are 70%, 17% of the 40 million population of our state. Or 1 out of 6 are actually Asian here, of the 6 million people. The one estimate is that there are 2 million Phil-Ams or in the state of California. However, what is the challenge? Only 30% are registered. And maybe less than that are actually voting. So that's why I say, it's how do we awaken this sleeping giant? Because the numbers are there, the potential is there, and we just need to act. How do we do that? We can do that, I believe, by, just like what I said earlier, by inspiring, activating, and mobilizing. Specifically, what we have done is that we've organized, I'm the co-founder of two organizations. One is called Filipino American Voice United, to raise the voice, and also the Filipino Latino Asian Native American Movement for Empowerment, for the 30%. For the Filipinos, like, we are around 1.5% in the US population. However, the biggest ethnic group in a few states like Hawaii and Nevada are Filipinos. The Filipinos in Hawaii and Nevada is the biggest ethnic group that has a voting potential power. So how do we activate this group? What we have done in FAVU, Filipino American Voice United, is we've looked at how can we attract the people who are not participating, right? I was, a few years ago, I took an Uber ride, and the driver, a lady, was very congenial, and she said, you know, she's made the American dream, she's doing well. Then when I asked her, who are you voting? She said she's not registered. So, that is the key opportunity. How do we register them? How do we reach out to them? How do we inspire and activate them? So what we've done is, I call it the 3 Fs and heroes. So what do Filipinos want? We want fun, family, and food. Yes? So we organize activities that will mobilize and activate them in the 3 Fs. And at the same time, we recognize the Filipino-American heroes. This is the key, I believe, is a formula that we can all use in all of our ethnic groupings. Recognize the heroes. And so, have you heard of Larry Itliong? Most have not, even Filipinos have not heard. But have you heard of Cesar Chavez? Majority have heard of Cesar Chavez, who united the Mexicans in the successful Delano mass movement in 1965 to 1970. However, most people are not aware that a Filipino leader named Larry Itliong actually led Cesar Chavez. Larry Itliong united the Filipino grape workers and said to Cesar Chavez, we want to have a strike to improve our well-being in 1965. But Cesar Chavez said, we're not ready. We need 2 to 3 years. However, Larry said, we will still go on strike. And they started the strike. And then a few weeks later, added the Mexican groups. So uniting Filipinos, Mexicans, and the whole country in 1970 supported that particular movement. So I want to invite you, and I close with this thought. I want to invite everyone in this room. We are celebrating the 3rd year of the Larry Itliong Leadership Awards on October 28 in partnership with the City of Carson, City of Tacoma, and maybe we can have Westminster City also, if possible. We want to be inclusive. And we are giving, in this 3rd year of awards, our leadership award to the Filipino American, our own, very own California Attorney General, Rob Bonta. So please be there and join us as we celebrate our heroes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Perez, the Tangley. We have 2 terms. You have 2 terms. One represent for Asian American voter and one for Filipino American voter. That's why you see Dr. Perez, the Tangley speak 2 times. No surprise. Now we would like to introduce our city councilman. Dr. Châu Dovin will support our work. Please welcome Dr. Châu Dovin.
thank you for Dr. Tony Chan Nguyen, who's a friend and supporter over many years. And welcome our distinguished guests here today, all our speakers and organizers, and our out-of-town leader from Ottawa, Canada. I'm going to try to keep my statements brief to 3 minutes. That's kind of the rule in Garden Grove as well as Westminster. So we're going to respect our Mayor Chi Nguyen and also our distinguished colleague Mr. Lan Nguyen, who I support personally. Call for people in Garden Grove to vote for him as he runs for our mayor, our next mayor. And I think he's well qualified. He's one of our most experienced leaders and elected. As a council member of Garden Grove, I welcome you to this event, which is being held right here in Garden Grove in Haven University, and the church and other entities that are here. We are working with the city to keep you here in Garden Grove. We know that you have other alternative spaces and places that we can worship and we can gather, but I'm working hard with Dr. Tony Chan to keep all of our organizations and our church and our school, our university right here. So you have my personal pledge. I will work with all of your leadership and your board to keep us here as a university and a church. So that's, I ask for everybody's support in that also. As a council member in Garden Grove, I had the privilege of traveling to our sister city in Anyang, South Korea, 10 years ago. Then Mayor Pro Tem was Dina Nguyen, who led the delegation, my wife. I came as a spouse. This time, 10 years later, just last week, she came to Anyang and Seoul as a spouse of current council member Joe Dovan. The reason why I mention it is because I listened to Sophia Chang's speech, and I have to say that we must support each other, all our ethnicities, all our minorities, and that's what this alliance is all about. I am behind it. I'm working with Dr. Chan and all our founders who was here and who's speaking, because we really need this. We really do. And today I have some very solemn news to share. We all know that our Senator Dianne Feinstein has passed. She was 90. She represented us very well as senator in this great state of California. We are the 5th largest economy, and we are also one of the largest top 10 counties. Orange County is right here in California. So our presence together, all of our different communities working together, will make a difference, and it will have a worldwide influence. It's not just here in the state of California or the United States, but our impact, we can impact communities all over the world. We can set a good example. We can set the guidelines for people to move forward in the same direction that our mission statement, and Jerry has assisted very well in preparing our mission statement. So thanks for providing that, and we will be continually advocating for that. When I was there in South Korea just a week ago, we were celebrating the 70th anniversary of U.S. Republic of Korea alliance, 70 years going on, very strong. And I was happy for the South Korean, but I was not happy for the South Vietnamese. And I told them, I lost my country of South Vietnam. You still have yours. And I'm going to adopt your South Korean country like it was my own. And your people is my people. And my people is your people. And we have to think like that. It's not Filipino, it's not Hispanic, it's not African American. We are all one people. We can all adopt each other. Let's pledge to do that. But we have to protect South Korea. I see the importance of that. I see the next 7, 10, 15, 60, 70 years, we have to protect South Korea like it's our own country. We don't want communism there. We don't want dictatorship there. Democracies are not perfect. And our people here know that. Democracy is not perfect. Dr. King gave us his legacy of civil rights movement. We are the beneficiary of that. Our communities benefit from the community of the African American and Dr. King, who you quoted. And that dream is alive in us. Thank you. And I want us to move forward as one people in this uniquely American responsibility. We cannot abdicate our responsibility as the leader of the free world. We come here for liberty, for freedom, and that's why we are here. Freedom is not free. We have to pay for it every day with our hard work. And the only way we can bring freedom and democracy to anywhere in the world, including Vietnam, is to protect it here at home, to treasure it, to grow it, to promote it, and that's how we're going to bring it to the world. We can't bring it to the world if we're not strong here. So building strong voices is what we're all about. Thank you for that. And if you allow me 30 seconds to speak in Vietnamese. Cảm ơn quý quan khách hôm nay. Tôi mới vừa đi Hàn Quốc về, thấy rất là người Việt Nam gốc Việt chúng ta bên đó rất là đông. Cũng có lập gia đình với những người Hàn. Bây giờ chúng ta phải giúp cho Nam Hàn để giữ nước, để chống lại Cộng sản, chống lại chiến tranh và chống lại những cái hình thức gọi là phi dân chủ mà nó đang xảy ra giống như miền Nam Việt Nam chúng ta trước đây. Đáng lẽ tôi đang ở Sài Gòn ăn mừng 70 năm quan hệ Mỹ-Việt Nam nếu miền Nam chúng ta còn. Nhưng không còn nữa, chúng ta phải tranh đấu để trở lại một đất nước tự do dân chủ thật sự. Và cuối cùng, tôi lên án tất cả những cán bộ công chức Việt Nam qua đây mà đại diện cho chúng ta là những người Việt Nam Cộng Hòa, quốc tịch và hậu duệ Việt Nam Cộng Hòa, không bao giờ chấp nhận bất cứ một cộng sản nào tới đây mà hỗn láo với cộng đồng này, mà dám tiếm danh cộng đồng này, mà kêu gọi chúng ta phải đứng dưới Cộng sản Việt Nam, là chuyện đó hoàn toàn chúng tôi lên án, phản đối và không bao giờ cho phép bước chân vào cộng đồng này hỗn láo với chúng ta ở đây. Chúng ta phải tôn trọng những dân cử gốc Việt chúng ta. Thị trưởng Charlie Nguyễn Minh Trí, dân cử Nguyễn Quốc Lân và tôi cùng các người dân cử trẻ chúng tôi đừng có tin những ai nói rằng chúng tôi thân cộng, theo cộng hay chấp nhận cộng sản. Chúng tôi hoàn toàn chống đối những khuynh hướng đó và sẽ đứng lên tranh đấu cho cộng đồng chúng ta cùng với các cộng đồng khác mạnh mẽ xây dựng dân chủ tự do cho đất nước chúng ta, bắt đầu với từng cộng đồng tại Hoa Kỳ đây. Xin cảm ơn quý vị.
Hello, we do have a second part of this program. Of course, we will have about 10 minutes to break. But before we have a short break for the second part of our program today, I would like to introduce you Professor Yuan Dai Hai. Is a Hai Yuan or Peter Yuan. He is also the candidate for some public position. Please welcome Mr. Yuan.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so impressed and glad to be here today. For the last 2 hours, I've been heard all kinds of impressive and interesting speeches from every interesting man about the Alliance of Asian American Voters. Especially when I heard about Mr. MC talking about the list of the mission of the Alliance of Asian American Voters. I pay a very high attention on the word voting culture. The reason I said the voting culture is very important because for the last 20 years, we have failed with the mission
to gathering the American Asian for voting. As Dr. Leeson mentioned earlier, Asian Americans are only the 70% of the 42 million population of the state of California. And among those, only 30% register voting. So that number is so depressed, so disappointed. So one thing I suggest to you, as the Alliance of Asian American Voters, how do we gathering all Asian Americans understanding the importance of the voting in America, especially in the state of California. Why? Because so far we have Asian, including Indian, Indonesia, Vietnam, Thai, etc. But all those kind of people that come in the country, like Vietnam, they call a dictator country. The people vote doesn't count. Only they call in Vietnamese word, they call a đảng cử dân bầu. Everything decided by the party of the communists in Vietnam. And the people in Vietnam, they have no right. That the second mission of the Alliance of American and Asian Voters, we have to protect the right of the voter. And if we want to protect the right of the Vietnamese voter, we have to educate. That's the most important thing. Educating is the most mission, how to make Asian people, they realize, they understand, they recognize the power of their vote. American is a country with the powerful all kinds, army, military, and space, but they don't pay attention how to educate the people in voting. My people, right now in the District 1, we have 700,000 Vietnamese, but only around 15 to 20% register for vote. So whenever I mention about the voting, whenever I mention about election, so disappointed. So that's the reason why I'm running for the supervisor of the District 1 of Orange County. Thank you. And I do believe with the people trust my capacity, when I become a supervisor of the District 1, my most important thing as a priority job is how to educate the Vietnamese people in the election, in the voting. And they should understand and memorize that, the power of their vote. So I appreciate for your good idea today, so impressive, so effective, but we need to educate people when you say the word voting culture. And we have to understand that. I hope, for the last 20 years I was so disappointed, but I hope from now on, we have an Alliance of Asian American Voters. We should have a better staff to make the people understanding and more effectively in using their vote. May God bless you all, and I thank you so very much. Bye.
We have a second part of this agenda is very important. That is officially announcement the formation of the Alliance of Asian American Voters. And also we do have a mission statement. This is the most important message. We are the members, the founding member and the chairman of Asian American Voter will be signed in front of public to dedicate for the contribute volunteering work. What we doing, the most important is we bring the voting culture to every person, every voter, every house. Then we do the best what Americans need us to do. Please take a break, about 10 minutes, and we join back with the second part. We have water or everything refreshed on the back. Please take a break and come back within 10 or 15 minutes.